I always do this where I like overwhelm myself with like rituals and things that I want to do. Whether it's like in a day, whether it's like the beginning of a month or a year or a week or whatever, I get so into like making this list of like, first you got to clean, then you got to do laundry, then you got to sage, then you got to write in your journal. You have to set your intentions. You have to do a tarot card reading. You have to, and it's so much. And I honestly feel like I have lost the plot on what these rituals are even meant to be to begin with.
I am dead because I know that at least for the last two New Year's, you and I have this like the same day on Jan 1st. We wake up, we're like, okay, we're gonna clean. We're gonna clean our surroundings. And then we're gonna sage. Then we're gonna pull our tarot for the year. I'm gonna take a look at like a
Overwhelmed. Let's
360-degree look
talk about
just on my tarot cards. I want to see them all. Then we're going to do God knows what. And then like at the end of the day, we're exhausted. Let's not even talk about do you remember our new moon ritual? No,
it. I
absolutely.
want to forget. I want to forget. No, actually, that was an example of a time where I had a lot of fun doing a
Yeah,
ritual.
that was really fun.
And I feel like because we were both doing it kind of like as a joke. Like we were both doing it being like, this is insane. Like,
Yep.
WTF are we doing? Let's do it. Which I feel like to some extent is like what makes rituals so like appealing and attractive is that they're supposed to like be fun or like bring light or like joy or like ease to your day. But my rituals bring me anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I have so much to do. I'm like, it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I have so many things I've left to do.
Yeah. Because we've almost conditioned ourselves that if we don't do them all, and if we don't do them to their entirety,
Yeah.
then it's like we're not doing them.
Yeah. Okay, I have to talk about this. So I obviously changed where I usually sit. Like I sit on my bed normally, but I've changed it up, whatever. And I don't know if you can hear, but my chair is so creaky.
I
And
can't.
it sounds like do you hear it kind of? Okay, of course while I go to show you, it's like gonna be like silent, but it's so creaky and I'm so self-conscious of it. Can you hear it?
No.
I don't know why, but like even when I'm working and I'm like in meetings, like two things that I'm so randomly self-conscious of, or like not even self-conscious, I'm just conscious that other people can hear it, is my chair and when I drink from my water.
Okay,
Because what so random. But yes, go.
I was gonna say I do sometimes hear you take a gulp from your
Yeah,
impulse sip,
okay.
your
Because
like water. I was
one,
gonna call it your what you call it by, but I feel like
my nipple.
nobody would know.
It's my nipple. That's what I call it. But okay, it's true because one time I was in a meeting and somebody asked a question and it was really quiet and I thought I was on mute and I wasn't because I had just like said something and then somebody like the conversation kept going and I thought I was on mute and I wasn't. And I took a sip of water and for some reason I'm such a like aggressive gulper. Like like I take such an aggressive sip, like you can really hear it. And it was like it was like silent. It was literally silent. And then somebody else on the call goes, "Oh, like that's a sip of water." Or it's like they made a comment about it. And my manager, I guess obviously had heard it many times because I'd been on so many meetings with her. So she goes, "Oh yeah, that's Tarini just drinking her water." And I don't even think she thought anything of it. She was just like, "Oh yeah, like that." Like because she must have just heard it so many times. And I was like, I was like, I am so embarrassed. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, that's such a random thing. Like, that's so random. And then I like told my manager after, I was like, oh my God, that's so awkward. Like, do you always hear me drinking water like that? And she's like, yeah, like you're just drinking water. Like, what's the big deal? And I was like, I don't know, but it just like seems weird. Side sidebar,
I
side note
actually
conversation.
I was gonna send you when I was editing the video last week to put up on YouTube, heard you take a big gulp of your water, and I laughed so hard. And I went to record it to send it to you, but you couldn't hear it. So I was like, it's fine. This video will feature her big gulp.
You're
You know what? I
welcome.
love it. Stay hydrated is the bottom
That's
line.
what I do. That's all I'm trying to do is stay hydrated, but they'll come for you no matter what you're doing.
No matter what. Okay, wait.
Nature's gonna
Now
hit.
I have this glare.
I did. I saw it.
But it's
I
like
saw it.
flying.
It's literally flying.
It's like, and I think I saw it coming like up and down the screen and then across. I think it's, you know what? It's this thing.
I think yeah.
It's my
Honestly, I
hair.
don't know about lighting. I think I wish it was summer so it was light until like 9 p.m.
I know. I wish we had like a PhD in film lighting, to be honest, so we wouldn't be running around like this.
I know. I know. Add it to our ritual. Add it to the next thing I've got to do.
Our rituals have become a bit intense, I will say.
They've
Okay.
become intense. And they've just become unnecessary. If I do say so myself. It's like no one cares. Like even when we were talking like about our in our last episode, or it wasn't our last episode, but the one before that. I don't even remember. But the one where we talked about New Year's.
Yeah.
I do feel a lot of pressure to like keep up these rituals, and I don't know why, and I like have to keep reminding myself that like there's no rules. Like I've made this shit up. Like I could do anything I wanted. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not like any hard and fast rule, but for some
No.
reason I think that I've become so like randomly attached to the idea of doing them. Like one of the things that I try to do every Sunday is like I'll put oil in my hair, I'll clean, I'll just like get ready for the week ahead, I'll water all my plants, change my sheets, like stuff like that. I'll sage, whatever. Excuse me. Add fucking hiccuping to this list of things you'll hear me do in this fucking video. Whatever. I can't. Anyways, I try to like do all these things on a Sunday, and sometimes I like get overwhelmed with all the things that I have
Yeah.
to do because I'm like, it's Sunday. I'm like, if you want to set yourself up for a good week, you have to clean and like sage and like do laundry and put oil in your hair and go for a walk and work out and da 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 and get rest. And I'm like, it's like I'm acutely aware of the fact that I put all these rituals in place to like help with my anxiety. So like one of the things that I was having a hard time doing was like I had a hard time sleeping, or like rather staying asleep like maybe a year or so ago, or even longer than that actually. And so I went to a naturopath and she was like, oh, you should have a cup of tea and like try like doing something to help calm your mind, like reading or journaling or whatever. And I love journaling at night, especially when I'm anxious, because I feel like I can just get all my thoughts out of my head
Yeah.
onto paper, and it's like I can leave it there, figuratively speaking. And so I really started doing it, but sometimes I find I put so much pressure on myself to
Mhm.
journal on nights when I like don't necessarily feel like it or want to or whatever. And I'm like very acutely aware of the fact that these things that I've put in place to help with my anxiety actually incite more anxiety. That I'm like, this is literally the opposite of the point of doing this.
Yeah. I think we also have we've talked about this before. I don't know if we've talked about it on our podcast, but we have a very all or nothing mindset that we are actively trying to
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need to do everything all together, all at once. I need to see it through 1,000%, or I'm not going to get the joy out of it, even though doing the
Yes.
task might not give me the joy that I'm looking for.
Yeah. And in fact, just doing it like a little bit might get me more joy than
Yeah.
making it this thing in my head.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And I also like think about the fact that for some reason like it's also like rituals have become such a big part of like health and wellness, like the world of health and wellness. And I think it's something that like I personally am just interested in, and I follow, like I kind of feel like you are too, where there's it's like marketed, for lack of a
Yeah.
better word, as like thing that you have to do, but like technically anything you do every day is a ritual. And likely, if you don't think so much about it, you do it because it makes you feel good. Like, for example, if you wake up every morning, I don't know, and wash your face and brush your teeth and change and drink your cup of coffee, like that's technically a ritual.
Yeah.
But people like don't think about those everyday things that you do like that as a ritual. Like all of a sudden, for some reason, a ritual has to be this like big, complicated thing when it's like, but actually, you just do a bunch of them throughout your day, anyways.
Yeah. I never thought about it that way, as if it's like it's a very personal thing, and your everyday routine is really your own ritual. I never
Yeah.
thought about it that way.
Because again, I think it's like marketed as like this thing of like include a journal in your
Mhm.
ritual, so buy a journal. Like include gua sha in your ritual, so buy gua sha. Like I feel like it's become like we've talked about this before, even on like the podcast, like we have an episode about it, but it's become like this. It's like it's become this like a much bigger thing than it actually is, which is like anything you do in your day that you do repeatedly because it actually makes you feel good or facilitates any part of your life, that's a ritual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, totally. I'm something that I'm doing this year when it comes to rituals, or just like even things within the realm of self-care, is I'm putting more of an emphasis on listening to my body. So
Yes.
even, for example, so as you know, I was bullet journaling last year. So I did that
Mhm.
from like February, and then May came along and it kind of dropped off. And then I realized how much I actually depended on it for my like everyday planning needs. So I picked it back up again. But then I was like, oh well, what if it falls off? If it falls off, it freaking falls off, and I try again the next year. It's like I think a lot of
Yeah.
it has to do with listening to what you need in the time in that particular moment and at that time, versus just forcing yourself to do something for the sake of it.
Yeah, totally. And I also think that like it goes even a step further where it's like, you're talking about your um like your bullet journal where you're like, if I don't do it, I'll start it again next year. Like it doesn't even have to be that long. Like if you don't feel like doing it
Yeah.
for a month, skip it for a month or a
Yeah.
week or a week and a half. Like it doesn't matter. And that's what I mean. I feel like we've put all these, we, by which I mean like me, have put all these like arbitrary rules that now all of a sudden we're holding ourselves to. And I think it's another way that our anxiety like tries to keep us in control. Or you know what I mean? Like it's another way that we try to soothe our anxiety by like being in control or following a specific like set of steps that at the end of the day don't even really help us.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting because I think you and I really we like structure,
Mhm.
uh, but we also need flexibility. Like
Yeah.
too much structure, we feel limited. No structure at all, we end up feeling a bit lost. So it's like, what is the middle?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because that's actually in like opposition, in complete opposition to our personality, because our personality sometimes is like either I do it all the way 100% or I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to do it at all.
If I can't give it 1,000,000%, I can't do it. But if I do it, I have to give it 1,000,000%. But
Yeah.
that's so in opposition to like what you just said, which is what we need.
Yeah.
Because and I feel like you just get lost in the sauce that is
Yeah.
rituals.
I'm dead. I've never heard lost in the sauce.
You've never heard that before?
No. What is lost in the sauce?
Good.
I love
I
it.
honestly I don't know where it came from. I can't remember, but it's not even new. It's like old. It's like
I'll use it now. Lost in
I'll
the sauce.
the what is it called? Etymology at a like where you like look at the like where a word came from.
Oh, maybe etymology.
I it sounds wrong,
Okay.
but I don't.
I'm like,
I
that sounds right to me. Lost in the sauce, etymology. That it sounds right. I'm going with it. I'm rolling with it. I love that we always have so much to say to each other that we need to do it on multiple devices at the same time. Before this meeting began, we were on a call. Then we hopped on to record our podcast. Then we did a break to FaceTime, and now we're back.
We're back.
I feel like
that was us season 2.
I feel like if you're not on like multiple platforms while talking to your friends, then are you really friends?
Are you really even friends? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I'm also dead because we had so much to say to each other that we were on multiple platforms back to back talking to each other for like hours. And then it came to recording. We were like, rituals are rituals. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Like we had one thing to say about rituals, and it was that nothing. It was nothing.
Obviously, prime content. This is content.
Laugh,
this is content.
make a ritual. 18's brain is going. She's like, content.
Yeah, as you're talking, I'm like, change this to content. This is content. Anyway, we're back. We're here on our like football within 2 hours.
Literally.
I really like hopping back to what we said, just to circle back. I really like what you said about, this is really circling back to earlier in the conversation. Like, I think when we first started, rituals are actually part of your everyday life, like a habit. And I love that perspective.
Yeah, you know why? Because I'm gonna keep going about this as if I didn't talk about it already. I realize like we put a lot of pressure on us, and like this is something that you brought up, but it's like, why is anxiety so closely tied to, first of all, everything that we do, but secondly, specifically something that's supposed to make us feel good and like help alleviate this anxiety?
Yes.
You know, like I mean, we can we can explore it further. I don't know the answer. Like, why do we?
So we won't, but just take what we're saying and roll with it. I don't know.
Believe us when we say.
I don't know. I wish I had the answers. I wish.
Why are we delirious? Why are we delirious right now?
I don't know, my girl. I wish I knew. I wish I knew why anxiety was so tied to rituals. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I used my Bujo today and it worked. It did. Sorry?
You like it?
I love it. Actually, it's cute. She's cute this time around. She was cute before, but she's even cuter.
Okay, so obviously bullet journaling is a habit, which we have established a ritual is essentially a habit. One more time, in case you didn't get that. What is something about bullet journaling that you were doing that you didn't like, that you like, and that you're bringing forward? Or what did you learn from it?
Okay, what I learned is that I liked the logistic aspect of it, so it gave a lot of organization in my life. Without it, I felt like I was using my phone, which I didn't really enjoy, to like record any appointments I had or just to schedule my day. So that was really great to have. I could always buy a planner, but I liked making something that was mine and having the creativity to do so. What I didn't like is I ended up getting into my own head a lot about how things should look or how they should be. So it took the fun out of it. But what I'm doing differently this time is, for example, something that took me really long in the past was like the monthly calendars, like actually drawing them out and creating them from scratch. And so now I'm combining months. So I'm doing a little more work in the same amount of time, but it'll save me more time down the road.
Yeah. Do you find that as a ritual, it has become easier for you to follow?
I mean, I'm only on my like first first time of the year, so can't confirm nor deny. I don't have an answer for you,
So
but I
interesting.
will.
So fast changed. Because okay, and the reason I'm saying that is because I know before, especially when you first started, like you were very intense with your bujo. You were like,
I'm
I
so
am setting up every month. I am
yeah.
setting up every tarot reading. I'm setting up
Yeah.
book, like hydration, my vitamins, like
Yeah.
ideas, like Quim. Like I know that it was a lot of like you put a lot of things into there.
Yeah.
But listening to you talk about it now, it's like this is part of your quote ritual that you do for yourself, but you have a different approach to it.
Yeah, it's just basics. Because I was recording all of these things, like I had a habit tracker, I had a wellness tracker, and it was mindless. Like at the end of the day, what am I doing with this data? Nothing. Like I'm not doing anything with this information. It literally told me nothing. Like I don't know what type of revelation I thought I was gonna have at the end of every month where I'm like, whoa, like, wow, I am doing really well at taking good care of myself. I wasn't like, I mean, I was keeping myself, I was doing the minimum, but like, it didn't add any value to my
Yeah.
everyday having this tracker.
Yeah. So it's actually really interesting that you brought that up where you were like thought you were gonna have some like revelation
Yeah.
because I was having this conversation with my cousin today actually, but um I was actually just talking about how like January I haven't felt great. Like I just haven't been feeling great, like mentally, physically, blah blah blah, all the illies. Like I just haven't been feeling great. And it's like partially because it's January, it's like
Yeah.
dark and blah blah blah. And I was thinking about how when you do something like a ritual, you expect it to bring you this like breakthrough, right? Like you're doing this bujo thinking you're gonna have some breakthrough at the end of it. Like I'm freaking saging, thinking I'm gonna like, I don't even know what, like turn myself into like Cinderella over here. Like, but actually, like the best, the the strongest or like the best benefits of doing these rituals, whether it's your puja or whatever, are the smaller things that you take away.
Yeah.
And that's truly what self-care or wellness or, doing something that makes you feel good is. It's not this like massive breakthrough that you're going to have. It's just
Yeah.
the small act, like the joy that you find in creating your bujo or the joy that I find in like feeling like I've cleared my space or using my gua sha or whatever it is.
It's such a personal thing. Like when you were talking about journaling, I know Steph really
Yeah.
doesn't like to journal. And it's like such a personal experience to come up with a ritual that fits you best. Cause yeah, like some people don't get the same joy out of journaling or benefit out of journaling as someone else would, but they would
Yeah.
do something different, like they would go on walks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just think like the whole purpose of a ritual is to like at the end of the day, you know, make you feel better, whether that's emotionally, whether that's mentally, whether that's physically, or to hold you accountable for like, the way that you said you had like a habit tracker or whatever. Um, and I think at the end, like you just wait for this like big moment and it never comes. And so then
Yeah.
like even more so why you should just focus on like it not being so intense. And maybe that's just us like making these things so intense, but I don't know. I feel like I have heard from multiple people like all of these rituals just like add up to like be too much and then you kind of don't
Yeah.
end up doing anything. But it's better to do something in not a perfect way or not in an all the way or not in a super intense way and feel some level of like accomplishment or joy or release than to just not do it at all.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of like dating. Like you want to try different things and see what works for you. And then it is kind of like dating because you are learning what works for yourself.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you are like testing out different things, and it's okay to I'm learning that it's okay to abandon rituals that just don't
Yeah.
make sense for me anymore. Like I love reading tarot cards and I used to do it religiously, and now I kind of just do it whenever I feel like it. Whereas like last year, I think I was doing them every freaking month.
Yeah. And for some reason I feel like guilty. Like I don't know why and maybe that's just me, but like if I don't do something like first I feel guilty and I have to remind myself like these are random rules and like regulations that I am imposing on myself. Like nobody is out here going to find me if I don't whatever follow these rules, but I find myself like feeling guilty if I don't do them. And I don't know why. I think it goes back to the idea of like anxiety that we were talking about
Yeah.
where, you know, implementing rules around even something as fluid as a ritual helps you feel more in control of even a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just like another mindset of like letting it go. Like that's something that I've tried to do in like all aspects of my life because I do tend to like try to control things or like try to, whatever.
Yeah. Do you find too that it's like it has to do with this idea of um like I keep going to staging. It's because it's an easy example, but like let's say if you keep telling yourself, oh, I have to stage today, I have to stage today, and you don't, then you think that you will only get that joy if you sage, or you will only get that peace of mind if you sage.
So I think I used to think like that. And it was not even for like saging. I think the biggest thing for me where I felt that was with journaling at night, where I was like, because for a long time, journaling really did help me. And like I would have like a cup of tea, like literally the way that our nutritionist told me, she was like, have a cup of tea and then like journal or have a cup of tea and read. And it's just a way for you to like unwind and set like sort of a quote nighttime routine.
Yeah.
And I think actually for the longest time, it was like, if you don't journal, you're not going to sleep well. If you don't journal,
Mhm.
you're not going to sleep well. And then like it took me a while to be like, but I am sleeping well. And like sleeping well again without journaling. And also, obviously, the point of, say, journaling is that it helps you alleviate, for example, in my situation, stress or anxiety in other parts of your life
Yeah.
that you can, that those are actually the reasons that you're not like sleeping well, right? Like because you're anxious or you're stressed about something else that's going on. And so journaling helps with those things. It's not the act of journaling that helps you sleep better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. I
And I
think
feel like,
go ahead.
no, you go.
I was gonna say I think that has to do with that idea of all or nothing. It's like if
Hmm.
I don't do this, then I won't sleep well.
Hmm. And also I think it's about again understanding the purpose of a ritual, right? Like the purpose of a ritual, for example, if we use saging, it's to like get, clear the space, clear the energy, like get rid of any like negativity or stagnant whatever.
Yeah.
It's great if you do that and it puts you in a better frame of mind for you to then go forth and let go of negativity in your life.
Yeah.
But you can't, but like a ritual has to support you doing that for other things. A ritual itself cannot do that, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
just because I doesn't mean all the negative things that were potentially in my life are now going to be gone. What it hopefully does is enables me to be in a better position to let go of those negative things. You know what I mean?
Completely. That I find that has a lot to do with what we were talking about in our last episode, which is like manifestation, but like your actions playing
Yeah.
a role in them. This just better sets you up to be in a position where you can take the actions that'll put you where you want to be. If
Yeah. And
that
I
makes
feel like, no, it does. And I feel like that truly at the end of the day is the point of a ritual because the point of a ritual is to help you feel better. So, like, if your quote ritual, which is just a schedule or something you do daily, is you wake up in the morning, you go for a walk, you take a shower, and then you start working, and you feel like you have to do that in order to be in a better frame of mind to work, then your ritual is working because it's enabling you to do things better for the rest, for all the other aspects of your life, for every other aspect of your life. It's like not so much about the ritual as much as it is about the benefit. So if you find that you're getting the benefit without the ritual, or that you're not getting the benefit and you're doing a ritual, like I think that's a signal to like change it up or let it go or just leave it for a little bit.
totally.